everybody, it's Fred Hassan with Sit Mean Sit Dog Training and our video for the day. Today we are with Ashton Fitz-Gerald, one of our trainers, and his 5.5-month-old puppy Fender. And what we're going to show you today is kind of a clicker training concept, except with a collar. So we're going to show you how the collar is not used negatively and how it can be linked with food in the exact same way as a clicker concept. Now, as you guys all know, a collar, if it's just known as negative, would make a dog avoid something. But we're going to show you this here with a dog getting a stick or touching a stick for food. Now, we were going to use a monitor, but we just felt that, or I just felt that somebody would just think that he would be going to the noise. And we're going to do this on various levels. So you can see, why don't you first show Ashton that this collar is actually, that it's on.
Well, I was just showing that a second ago up to the camera. Hopefully you can all see it. I was pressing a button on the remote control here.
Oh, okay.
And the collar was flashing red at the corresponding time. So I've got a little, of course, green light here. And when I press this button, if I go even a little bit higher, if I go up to a level 7 with Fender, as we're watching him here, you might even see some subtle reactions from him. Now, he's a physically kind of tough dog, but you know what? Let me take this collar off him again.
This is a Sit Mean Sit collar, so
show you. Excuse me, folks. Apologize. As I press the button here, you can see there's a green light on the remote and a red light on the transmitter. This is actually one of our prototype collars that we are playing with right now and just kind of messing around with it. Now, I can guarantee this collar is the same as any other Sit Mean Sit collar in its function in terms of what the dog feels. I don't know how much of that personal guarantee means much to some of you folks out there, but regardless, I'm going to put the collar back on Fender here. Again, remember, this is all unedited. Very good.
5.5 months.
And Fender usually works on around a level 5 on the collar, so that's where I'm going to start off here. And basically, those of you familiar with a touch exercise, I've got a stick here, a piece of PVC. It's actually an agility pole. So I'm using my agility equipment for more than one thing. And he's already seen this a couple of times with the collar, but we want to put it on video for you folks. So what we're basically going to be doing is teaching him when he touches that stick with his nose, we're going to tap the button at the same time. This is the same principle as clicker training. We're going to click basically with a remote collar the same instant he touches that stick to mark that behavior and shape it into...
Whoa, wait a minute here. Isn't a collar nothing but negative, and isn't that going to just make him avoid the stick? That's what I read somewhere.
Yes, if the collar was perceived as a negative, and this is the thing that a lot of people who don't really understand how remote dog training works, it's open to interpretation. And so it's no different than somebody coming up behind you and smacking you in the back. It's open to interpretation by that person based on their physical sensitivity. So if they're very sensitive, a smack in the back might hurt that person. You know, a smack in the back on a small child might hurt that child. But it comes down to the dog's perception of it. So, you know, you look at a football player out there playing the Super Bowl and their coach smacks him in the back as hard as he pretty much can, even through the padding, that's pretty hard. You know, the reaction from the football player isn't like, holy geez, what was that? No, their reaction is that of motivation, and it really just comes down to the dog's perception of the collar. If he perceives this as a negative when we press that button, then he's going to obviously react. Or if the collar's causing pain, that's a great example. If it's hurting him, there's nothing I can do to make that pain go away. But what we're going to see, of course, is that he's not avoiding the stick when we press the button, and he's certainly not afraid to go back to the stick again.
So this would explain why this Sit Mean Sit training method is quite a bit different. So this really goes against a lot of what you might think, in that it would, it should. Let's see this. It should make this dog.
There's a lot of theories out there about dog training, positive versus negative. You got operating conditioning, classical conditioning, the 4 quadrants with positive punishment, and you know all this other stuff. I don't like to get into that stuff myself. I understand the basics of it, and I understand how it works in theory, but the reality is our dogs don't live in a Skinner box. We live in the real world with distractions that come up all the time, and to avoid distractions is to avoid putting your dog in the real world.
Okay, so let's see this with this puppy here.
With that in mind, again, what we're going to do here is when he touches that stick with his nose, I'm going to tap that button on the collar, and I'm going to give him a treat, just like a clicker trainer would do.
All right, let's see this.
So I'm going to bring the stick down here. He knows where the food's at. He knows where the treats are at. He's not stupid. Now, if I remove the opportunity for him to get that treat, and this is only the first couple of times we've done this with him, he touches the stick, I'm going to tap that button and give him a treat. I'm keeping this remote face open, so if the cameraman wants to come in here and actually watch that little green light, I'm going to tap that button as he comes in and touches the stick.
Now, wouldn't that, it seems to me that, for everything I've heard, that after you touch that button, when he touches that stick, that it should make him avoid that stick from now on.
It should.
Keep that stick still. I think you're cheating.
Well, the problem is that my dog's got to jump up.
Look at that.
Now.
There you go.
So when I put the stick a little out of reach, if he's got to jump up, he has to put even more physical energy into this game. So again, I'm not trying to convince you folks that the collar's positive, because let's face it, remote collar, that's not positive, right? What I'm trying to show you here is that the collar is not causing him to avoid touching that stick. And because of that...
And this is on what, a level 5?
That's actually on a 6 right now.
That's a 6.
Let me turn that up to an 8 for you.
Oh my God. Here's an 8.
So I just pressed the button on a level 8. Let's see if he goes back. Yep, he did. Let's see if he goes back again. Yep, he did.
Very good. All right, so...
Now, hang on a second.
Oh, we're not done. Okay.
Let's see if there's some tricks going on here. I'm going to take this collar off him. Put that on my hand for you folks.
Uh-oh.
Remember now, these are muscle stimulators. So I've got to put this on a level that's going to cause a muscle contraction here. It's going to cause a contraction in my thumb.
What level was that?
Hang on, that was a 6. I got to go a little higher here. This is a level 8. So you can see this is something I can't control. I can't fight that muscle contraction, but you can see this collar is active. It's definitely stimulating. And this is the same level that I had my dog on.
So even if he's on an 8, why isn't he screaming or whatever?
Again, it's open to interpretation. The collar, this particular sit mean sit collar, is so adjustable, and it's overall designed as a softer collar. It's not like some of the hunting collars out there where you press the button and the dog screams his head off. It doesn't work that way. It's not designed to work that way. In fact, the way we train is we're not in the business of making dogs scream. Because if we were, there's no way I'd be able to do a demonstration in the middle of a parking lot in front of our building, or better than that, in front of a client's house with my van right there labeled sit mean sit dog training for the real world. There's no way I'd be able to do that and us become the largest US-based dog training company in the US, period. It wouldn't happen that way because it's not going to look very pretty. And
well, there you have it. I can see where obviously all the things that you can do. So, we like to have training is adjustable. So if you are a clicker trainer or you are whatever, you can do anything you want with our training method. And as you can see, obviously didn't avoid the stick, but he went to the stick. Why don't you throw a ball for him, and we'll
I'll find a ball.
Well, how about throwing the stick for him? There's a ball. Have him just... All right. So until tomorrow...
Sit means sit.